Hello, welcome back. A friend of mine at the gun club, Linton Schubert, said to me the other day, "You know, Roger, you've got a few videos, but you've never done one on cartridges." And he said, there's a lot about cartridges. And Linton is a AA grade shooter. So I thought, well, I better look into cartridges. So here we are today, thanks to Linton Schubert, and we're looking at cartridges. The first cartridge that I've got is 50 years old. It's a Blue Star paper hull, and I've cut out a section of it, and you can see the powder there, the paper wad, and the number 4 shot. So that's what a 50-year-old cartridge looks like. There's the paper, there's the powder, the paper wad, and the number 4 shot. And there it is, 50 years old, and it still fires. I've got 2 left of them. The next one I've got is the one that I normally use. It's a 7.5 AA Champion 1250, 28 gram, and you can see how different it is to the 50-year-old cartridge. It's got a plastic hull, it's got a plastic wad, the powder's in there, it's got a plastic wad, and that's 7.5 shot. And then the other one, getting bigger, is a Winchester Super Ranger 00 Buck, or SG, and that has got the powder in there. There's the plastic wad, and it's got 9 lead pellets, and there's this plastic granules in there, and that's to keep the lead shot in its uniform pattern in the shell, so it doesn't wiggle around and then fire differently. So the packing there is to keep the 9 lead pellets in position as they were packed. So there's 3 shells. So let's have a look at the topic of cartridges. And plastic wads, you saw the old one with fibre wads, paper wads, but plastic wads give a tighter and often more even pattern than fibre wads. The plastic wads contain the shot as it goes through the barrel, and so it doesn't touch the sides of the barrel, and there's less deformation. And then, of course, the wad slows down and the lead shot keeps going. Manufacturers add between 1 to 8% of antimony to the lead to make it harder, which allows for less deformity of the lead pellets and so should improve pattern consistency. So a good quality shell will have a higher percentage of antimony to the lead. It makes the lead harder and less deformity. So just as a general rule, here it's drawn to scale. As a general rule, a cylinder choke will give you a 36-inch spread at 22 yards. A full choke will give you an 18-inch spread at 22 yards. And putting that visually, there's the spread from a cylinder choke at 22 yards, and there's a spread from a full choke. And that's drawn to scale, so there's quite a bit of difference. And then, of course, you've got your improved cylinder, modified, improved, modified, full. And then, and of course, it keeps getting smaller and smaller till you get to full. So, having a look at what's inside the cartridges, a number 9 cartridge will have about 585 lead pellets. Number 8, 410, 7.5 about 350, and a 7, 300 lead pellets per ounce of lead. So that's how many pellets are in the typical cartridge. A typical clay shooting cartridge is 28 grams of 7.5 shot, with approximately 350 pellets. So that's what people usually fire out on the clay range. 7.5 shot, 28 grams. So getting a little bit more technical about cartridges, high velocity shells can deform more lead shot, so we will get more flyers. The lead shot travels faster through the barrel. it's got to be accelerated faster through the barrel, and so you can get more flyers because the lead deforms, so you'll get less lead in there. So that's one thing to keep in mind about high velocity cartridges. A high velocity cartridge gives the equivalent of only 10 to 15 centimetres, 4 to 6 inches less lead at a range of 30 metres. So when you're shooting at a target and it's 30 metres out, a high velocity cartridge requires that you give it 4 to 6 inches less lead. So the higher the velocity, then less lead is required. So that's something to keep in mind, because it would be a small adjustment would be needed with different velocities. But then the question is more speed worth the extra recoil? 7.5 shot at 1,330 feet per second takes 0.129 seconds to get to 40 yards, to travel 40 yards. And then it's got 1.4 foot-pounds of energy. At 1,250 feet per second, it takes 0.136 seconds to travel 40 yards, and it's got 1.3 foot-pounds of energy. At 1,145 feet per second, which is considerably slower than 1,330, it takes 0.144 seconds to travel 40 yards, and it's got 1.2 foot-pounds of energy. So recoil is never a good thing, and you're going to get more recoil the higher velocity the cartridge is in general. And so there it is, 1330, it takes 0.129 seconds to travel 40 yards, 1145, 0.144. So if you do the maths, it's only about 1/100th of a second quicker. And there it is. And the energy, there's not a lot of difference. A nice low recoil cartridge is 1 ounce of shot at under 1,200 feet per second. If velocity of the cartridge is low, then in a poor quality cartridge, consistency of pattern may be an issue. Generally, the higher the velocity, the more consistent the pattern. But in a good quality cartridge of lower velocity, consistency of pattern shouldn't be an issue. But in a poorer quality one, it can be. Winchester, Australia, and I don't endorse any of these. I've never even shot this one. Winchester, Australia makes AA featherlights, 26 grams, number 8s, and they claim that you have 50% less recoil is their claim. I've never shot it, and but that's what I read on their website, and that's their claim, 50% less recoil, the featherlights. One interesting thing that I thought I'd put in for semi-automatic shooters, I didn't even know these cartridges existed, but Fiocchi, that are renowned for their cartridges, and they were one of the first manufacturers to actually start looking into lower recoil cartridges, and they've been making cartridges for a long, long time. So Fiocchi make a spreader cartridge. So I thought, and I don't fire semi-autos on the range, it gives semi-auto shooters the option of having a wider first shot pattern. So in a semi-auto, you've only got one barrel or one choke. So with these spreaders, if you load it first, it'll give you a wider shot first, and then you've got your normal shot as a second. Like I said, I'm not an experienced semi-automatic shooter, but I thought I'd present it there as an option for semi-automatic shooters to think about. Fiocchi spreaders, and I've never shot them, and I don't endorse Fiocchi or anything. So, conclusion about cartridges. High velocity may deform the pellets in a poor quality cartridge. There's not much advantage from higher velocity in terms of energy. The ideal situation is medium velocity cartridge that patterns well in your gun. So, and of course, whatever cartridge you use and prefer, try out on the pattern board. And just in conclusion, this is what I shoot. I buy these at the club. They're AA, they're champions, 1250s, 28 gram, and I find these pattern really well consistently. I've shot them on the pattern board, and they've just gone up in price. Now I pay $100 at the club for a slab of 250 cartridges, but they're Australian made, premium competition cartridge. There it is. That's what I shoot and often mess with. So, thanks for watching. Happy shooting, and I'll see you again.